What's good, YouTube? SlenderRevolutionX here, coming to you guys today with a video where I wanted to talk about the upcoming competitive season. With this year versus years past, we've kind of seen the competitive season creep up on us and start a lot sooner than it has before. I don't think I can remember it starting before like the end of August. And now we're walking into this upcoming weekend. We have the UDS tournament. So anybody that qualified for that will be seeing play, kind of helping to define the current meta that we're in. We've been in this format for about 3 weeks now, and nothing has really come out as a front runner, but we also haven't really had any competitive events coming. So it's going to be pretty interesting seeing this weekend. And then, of course, we have YCS Portland coming up soon. The Megatons coming out, kind of helping to mold that whole format into something that we can all play in. But basically, I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. We have, a couple decks in contention here. There's a lot of ramblings about the Thunder Guard Dragon deck, how that deck still has a lot of power to it. I kind of agree with that. That deck only saw the hit of the baby dragons, really. And there are cards to help mitigate that kind of, don't really hinder the deck as much. And I think we might start seeing more of a Thunder engine in there than before. But I personally don't think that it has as high of a ceiling as it did in the last format, which, in my opinion, is a really good thing for the rest of the player base that doesn't play Thunder, because it's going to give you a chance to play. You're going to have opportunities to break these boards that Thunder makes, because it's not like they're going to be running into a ton of Colossuses. That board that they make, the one with Heavenly, like just going through a pretty standard board, Heavenly Spheres, Hot Red, Colossus, and then like another Negate or something down there as well. That board isn't as intimidating as it has been in the past format. With things like Orcust running around, I think Orcust has a pretty good Thunder matchup. The issue with Orcust, I would say Orcust is the front runner if they didn't get hit by hand traps so hard. Like, one hand trap really slows down that deck. Whether it's Lancia, whether it's ogring, one of the link monsters with the down arrows, whether it's ashing the mermaid. There's so many things that deck runs into speed bump wise that really slows it down. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just an engine, so I think that something that might come out of the UDS qualifier is a set Orcust list that could give us some idea of the best way the deck is ran. Because, we've seen things like Dino Orcust. We've seen things like World Chalice Orcust that I like to play. We've seen things like Pendulum Orcust. There's just been, you can run down the list because it's an engine. You can put a lot of things in there to help mitigate that hindrance from hand traps. But I think that that's something that a lot of players will benefit from this weekend, is seeing how some of the upper tier level players choose to build that deck. Another thing that I'm expecting to see this weekend at the UDS is a fairly large Sky Striker turnout. I think Sky Striker still has a really good metagame and good ability to win you games this format. I think you obviously have to change to a more stun kind of build. But the bottom line is the deck is consistent. There's things that deck does that generally it's going to do the exact same thing every turn, and it's going to be able to outgrind you. The loss of the multi-roll, or the multi-roll going down to 1, is going to make a difference. Between that being at 1 and Kankari at 1, once you can deal with both of those factors of that deck, you're going to have an advantage. But until that point, people are starting to put things like there can be only 1 in there. And other floodgate kind of cards that it can work around, that Sky Striker itself can work around, but that hinders other decks drastically. If Orcust gets hit by there can be only 1, that deck struggles. If Thunder Dragon gets hit with the there can be only 1, while there's, the LP on board with something else like the LP plus the triple burst, that's really strong. You know, you put yourself in a situation with can be only one to where you kind of level the playing field. You know, sometimes Striker has this issue where it can kind of get overran and can't deal with the amount of monsters that people put on board. But I think with people starting to main more shark cannons now, start to main the floodgates, the different hand traps, the going second striker versions, I think is very strong. I think that deck could have a really strong showing at the UDS. And I think this format in general can tailor to a going second deck. I don't think we saw that last format just because going first was so strong. But evenly matched is still a hell of a card. You know, that having, if somebody goes second, if you win the dice roll and you choose to go second, you as the going first player have to take into account the fact that there may be an evenly matched waiting on the other side of that turn for you. And a smart player, I don't want to say a smart player, but knowing that that is an avenue that the game could go down, evenly matched can swing it all in one way in one turn. If you don't have a way to deal with the evenly matched, and they're able to resolve that card on you with nothing on board and then, you know, do their own things like in Striker, you know, set 4 Shizuku Pass, you put yourself in a really bad position without being able to even put any damage on board or anything like that as a going first player. And a deck that can't put out a ton of negates, kind of like Thunder right now, you know, there's the Colossus isn't going to do anything to an evenly matched. Like, you're pretty limited to negating it with Hot Red. And if you have, like, another negate, so if you have another negate, you're, like, limited to being able to use those to stop the evenly. But if that gets baited or Pancratops or something like that, you're so behind in the resource game at that point that I think going second is a viable strategy this format. It's something that I really like to see. But, you know, all of this is just speculation until the end of the UDS this weekend, where we'll see our first kind of premiere event. And it's going to be pretty exciting to what you see. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That's all from me. If you guys have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, guys, remember to subscribe to join the revolution today. This is SlenderRevolutionX signing out, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.